In a quiet village, surrounded by mountains and mist, there lived a farmer named Elias. He was known throughout the region for his patience, though not everyone understood why. One spring morning, a young boy named Theo, the son of a neighboring farmer, came to visit. He found Elias kneeling in a field, planting something small and unremarkable into the soil. "What are you planting?" Theo asked. "Bamboo," Elias replied, without looking up. Theo laughed. "Bamboo? My father says bamboo takes forever to grow. Why not plant something faster? Corn grows in months. Wheat grows in a season. Why waste your time on something so slow?" Elias smiled, but said nothing. He simply continued pressing the small seed into the earth, covering it gently with soil, and pouring water over the spot with quiet care. Theo shook his head and walked away, convinced the old farmer had made a foolish choice. Weeks passed. Theo returned to the field often, expecting to see a small green shoot pushing through the dirt. But there was nothing, just soil, just silence. "Nothing has grown," Theo said one day, standing beside Elias as he watered the same patch of earth. "Are you sure it's even alive?" "It's alive," Elias said calmly. "But there's nothing to see." "That doesn't mean nothing is happening." Theo frowned, unconvinced, but he kept coming back, curious despite himself. Months passed. The seasons changed. Summer turned to autumn, autumn to winter, and still the ground where the bamboo seed had been planted showed no sign of life above the surface. Theo's own father had already harvested 2 full crops of corn in the time it took for Elias's bamboo to show nothing but bare soil. The villagers began to talk. Some laughed quietly behind Elias's back. Others pitied him, believing he had wasted a year of effort on a seed that would never grow. But Elias kept watering it. Every single day, rain or shine, he knelt by that same patch of earth, giving it the same care he had given it the very first day. A full year passed, then a second year. Theo, now older and more skeptical, visited less often. When he did return, he found the same barren patch of soil and the same old farmer, still kneeling, still watering, still patient. "It's been 2 years, Theo said, his voice edged with frustration on Elias's behalf. "Anyone else would have given up. Why do you keep doing this? Doesn't it feel pointless?" Elias finally paused and looked at the boy. "Theo, do you know what's happening beneath the soil right now?" Theo shook his head. "The bamboo isn't growing upward yet because it's building something you cannot see. Beneath this ground, it is spreading roots, deep, wide, strong roots that stretch farther than you could imagine. It is preparing itself so that when it finally does rise, nothing can knock it down." Theo said nothing. He didn't fully understand, but something about the old man's certainty made him stay quiet. A 3rd year passed, still nothing above the ground. By now, even Theo's father had stopped asking about it, assuming the seed had simply failed, or that Elias had been fooled by a seller of bad seeds. The village had mostly forgotten about the bamboo patch. It became a quiet joke, the old farmer's folly, the years wasted on invisible growth. But Elias never stopped. Every morning, before the sun fully rose, he walked to that same patch of soil and watered it, as if it were the most important task of his day. Then, in the 5th year, something happened. Theo, now a young man, was walking past the field early one morning when he stopped in his tracks. There, rising from the earth where nothing had grown for years, was a small green shoot. He ran to find Elias, breathless. "It's growing! The bamboo, it's finally growing!" Elias walked calmly to the field, looked at the small shoot, and nodded, unsurprised. But what happened next stunned the entire village. Within just 6 weeks,
That small shoot grew into a towering bamboo stalk, nearly 90 feet tall. It happened so quickly that villagers came from neighboring towns just to see it with their own eyes. What had seemed impossible, what had seemed like years of wasted effort, transformed into one of the most remarkable displays of growth anyone had ever witnessed. Theo stood beside Elias, staring up at the towering bamboo, utterly speechless. "How?" he finally asked. "How did this happen so fast? 5 years of nothing, and then this in just 6 weeks?" Elias placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "It wasn't 6 weeks, Theo. It was 5 years and 6 weeks. The bamboo didn't
Suddenly decide to grow. It had been growing the entire time, just not where you could see it. He knelt down and gently brushed away some of the soil at the base of the stalk, revealing an enormous network of roots spreading in every direction, deeper and wider than Theo could have imagined. For 5 years, this plant built a foundation strong enough to support what you see now. If it had tried to grow tall before its roots were ready, the first strong wind would have snapped it in half. The silence wasn't failure. The silence was the work. Theo sat down beside the bamboo, letting the lesson settle over him. "So all this time," he said slowly, "when I thought nothing was happening, everything was happening." "Exactly," Elias said. "Real growth doesn't always announce itself. The most important work, the work that lasts, often happens where no one is watching, where there is no applause, no proof, no evidence except your own quiet discipline." That day changed something in Theo. He thought about his own
The goals he had abandoned after only a few months because he saw no results. The skills he had quit practicing because progress felt invisible. The dreams he had let go of because patience felt like failure. He realized that so many people give up right before their own 6th week, right before the roots they've spent years building finally break the surface. He thought about people who compare their year 1 to someone else's year 5. People who mistake silence for stagnation. People who confuse invisible progress with no progress at all. He looked at the bamboo, standing tall and unshakable against the wind, and understood something he would carry with him for the rest of his life. Years later, Theo became a farmer himself, known throughout the region, not for planting bamboo, but for teaching a simple truth to anyone who would listen. Whatever you're building, he would tell young farmers, students, dreamers, and anyone chasing something worthwhile. If you can't see the results yet, that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Roots grow in silence. Strength is built where no one applauds you. Don't judge your progress by what's visible. Judge it by how deep your roots have grown. He would often bring people to stand beneath that same bamboo, now decades old, towering and unshakable, and tell them the story of the 5 years no one saw. The lesson. Real growth doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like silence, stillness, or even failure. But beneath the surface, if you keep showing up, if you keep watering what you've planted, even when nothing seems to change, you are building roots strong enough to hold up everything you're about to become. Don't quit in year 4. Don't quit in week 5. Your breakthrough might be closer than you think, hidden just beneath the silence. If this story meant something to you, that means it was meant for you. Take a second right now and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this story reach someone else who needs to hear it today. If you know someone who's in their own silent years right now, someone building roots no one else can see, share this video with them. It might be exactly what they need. And if you want more stories like this, stories about patience, growth, and the lessons life quietly teaches us, make sure you're subscribed and tap that notification bell so you never miss the next one. Thank you for watching. Keep growing, even in the silence.